Before you get into a committed relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, and especially husband or wife, it might be in your best interest to check that person's credit report.
Fortunately for me, this video is not clickbait. We owe $324,103. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lo, and I make videos about my experience with infertility and with debt payoff. Today, I am finally sharing with you guys our full debt total, how much we owe in student loans and credit card debt, most of which is student loans, and that is $324,103 as of October 1st, 2020. Now, for the last...
Student loans is one thing, but the credit card debt usually shows that person's true level of financial literacy or what they're doing, right?
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Student loans, I feel like one way or another, people are gonna have it. But credit card debt is definitely something that can be avoided. Or maybe you just say you were young and dumb, whatever it is. That is something that someone can be putting a lot of energy towards trying to get rid of. Especially if they're still in that cycle of credit card debt. You know what I'm saying?
Few months on my channel, I have been sharing with you our debt payoff for our credit cards. We owed around $30,000 on our credit cards, and we worked on paying that off over the last 9 months, and we are almost done paying off that debt, but that is just a small portion of what we owe. The rest of what we owe is student loans, and that is a ridiculous number. I shared in my last video that I went to college and then I went to law school, and my husband also went to college, and then he got his MBA, his master's in business, and so between the two of us, we have been to a lot of years of school. It's a total of, I think, 13 years of school after high school, so obviously it's very expensive, and we took out loans to pay for most of it.
I feel like it's very tough, especially if you're an immigrant child from immigrant parents. They want you to go to the university right away, right? But the most cost-efficient way to limit the amount of student loans and overall debt you have is actually to go to community college for 2 years. Go to your local community college for 2 years, right? And then transfer to the university if need be, right? Whether you live at home while going to community college or have your own apartment while going to community college, you'll save a substantial amount of money for those first 2 years compared to going 4 years straight to university. And probably, if you're taking political science at college and university, how much different is it really gonna be, right? Especially because you will ultimately graduate with that university degree, right?
It's facts! It's facts! It's not facts. These facts is not facts. It's not facts. It's facts.
So look at your local community college and how many of those credits could transfer to the similar degree at that university. And that way, I feel like it's more of a bona fide way to avoid a ton of student loan debt. I'm just saying. You'll probably spend an extra year or two in school, but the totality of your debt will definitely be reduced substantially.
So that has accumulated to a really large number. We are finally this year working on paying that amount down. At the end of 2019, we sat down and we looked at everything, and we decided as soon as January 1st, 2020 hit, we were going to attack our debts full on. We wanted to get this amount paid down as quickly as possible, and so we can move on to other financial goals in our life and just get the stress of this debt out of our life. And so that's what we've done so far this year. I'm going to show you guys our debt spreadsheet in just a second that lists all of our debts, where we started as of January 2020 and where we are now. We did have a really good year so far. We have made a lot of progress compared to other years where our debt has just been going up and up and up. This year it actually went down. We did make a big dent in it, but we have a long way to go. So actually our real starting debt number is actually even higher than that number significantly, because we have paid off a lot this year. So I'll show you guys that right now. Okay, so this is our debt payoff spreadsheet that I put together for 2020. I've been tracking all of our debts since the beginning of 2020. You can see here at the top, our debt-free goal date is August 2024. Now that is a stretch goal. I don't know if we're gonna be able to pay all this off by that date, but that is the date my daughter will start kindergarten. And so that is kind of a significant event in our lives that we would really like to have our debt paid off by then. Now you can see here in this column A, I have listed all of our debts at the beginning of January. We had a Best Buy credit card, a Citi credit card, my car, which is a Nissan, my husband's undergraduate loan, credit card loan, my husband's graduate school loan, and my graduate school loans.
So again, the credit card debt stuff and the card debt are things that were needless expenses. The most bona fide way to actually get a car that you can actually afford is to keep on taking public transportation, save up as much money as possible. For example, the money you would have used financing the car, the monthly income, the monthly...
Brother, this guy stinks!
Hey, funny guy! I got a joke for you! What smells rotten and puts people to sleep?
Noxious gas?
No! Your act!
For example, the monthly expense that you would have given the dealership by financing the car, you pay yourself. So let's say instead of paying $300 per month towards that car, like paying off the car, you pay yourself $300, right? And then at the end of, let's say, 10 months, you have $3,000 saved up to try and get a car. Now you've been able to buy a used car. It's not the best car, it's not the newest car, but you know, it does the job, right? So not only have you avoided paying that monthly payment that you will have until you pay it off, but you've also avoided probably getting a newer car that would have had a lot of depreciation, right? Most of the depreciation will have gone by the time you bought a car used. So the big thing is pay yourself the monthly finance fee you would have paid towards financing that car. Pay to yourself, buy a car used. And as far as credit card debt is concerned, don't use more than 30% of your credit card limit. This will allow you to have a good credit availability to credit utilization rate, but also prevent you from spending too much money on your credit card, so that it won't get to the point where you have a higher credit card balance than you have savings, right? The big thing when it comes to credit cards, in my opinion, is to have a savings account of at least $1,000 first saved up. And then by that point, once you build the financial habit to save $1,000, that prepares you to better deal with a credit card. You know what I'm saying? And we do that by paying ourselves first. Any deposit that you get from work, even a gift from mom and dad or whoever, monetary gift, directly put 10%, 20%, whatever you can afford to do, directly into your savings account. And then building that financial muscle of saving avoids the likelihood from having exponentially high credit card debt.
So I've listed all the interest rates here so you can see, and we started off paying off the debt's smallest first, and then we kind of skipped around after that, so I'll show you guys that. But our smallest debt was $977 all the way up to my student loans, which is $210,885. Okay, so what I did is for each month I put the starting balance of all the debts, so we know what our total debt was at the beginning of the month. So really our total debt number at its highest was $369,673. It has gone down since then, and now it is at $324,000, but January 1st, 2020, that was the total. So each month what I've done is I've tracked the number of payments we've made and the amounts, and so I've entered those into this payments row each month, and then I've looked at how much principal was actually paid down on the loans versus how much went towards interest, and whatever the starting balance was minus the principal amount is how I got this new balance for our loans at the end of each month. So as of January 31st or February 1st of 2020, our new balance was $368,287, and we had paid off a total of $1,386 for the month of January going into February 1st. So I track our debts each month this way, and you can see we did make some significant progress in March. We paid off our first debt. We got our second debt down to just $300, and we made a good dent in my car loan. And then by April, we had 3 debts paid off and only 4 more to go. It was the 3 smallest that we had paid off and the 4 biggest we had left, but still it felt good to have a smaller number of payments each month that you're making because it's just, less complicated. And then after that, instead of attacking this student loan next, my husband's undergraduate student loans, even though it was the next smallest, our credit card loan right here, you can see the interest rate was 11.87%, and that's about half of what it was when those credit cards were just on credit cards. We consolidated it into, from a few different cards into this one loan, and so the interest rate went from like 23% or so down to a little under 12%, so we were saving on interest. But
that's good. Debt consolidation is definitely another good approach when it comes to paying off credit card debt, but I prefer definitely a credit card debt settlement.
Wait! There's more! Hang on to your seat, baby! Cause this one's a screamer!
Now, credit card debt settlement will negatively affect your credit score because you will start making those consistent payments. But because we are settling, right, you can settle. So let's say your debt is $10,000. You can ultimately settle with your bank for $4,000 or maybe $5,000 of the total amount. That's what I prefer. Depending on where you're at, maybe you're trying to get a house or whatever it is, you may want to consolidate instead of doing debt settlement. But just know that debt settlement usually allows you to get out of debt a lot quicker. I've made a whole video on why you might want to consider debt settlement as opposed to debt consolidation. I'll leave that video linked in the cards up here or in the description and pinned comment of this video. I prefer this method because I know depending on your current credit score, you may not qualify for a debt consolidation loan or balance transfer card, right? So the main thing with these 2 major credit card debt approaches is lowering your interest and or lowering the total amount of debt you are paying overall. Right? So check out that video in the description.
That interest rate was about double our next highest interest rate of 5%. So we decided to do this loan next instead of doing the next smallest, just to get it out of the way since we were paying a lot more interest. And so that's what we were planning to do. Then coronavirus happened and we really decided to just pay minimums on our debts for the months of April, May, and June. So we really just paid around $3,000. For some reason, we paid a little bit more in May, but we just basically paid the minimums for these 3 months, and we were sticking a lot of money into savings because we weren't sure what was going to happen with our jobs and everything. So that's why we did that. So then July rolled around and we decided, okay, everything looks stable with our jobs, so we're going to take a lot of the money we put into savings in April, May, and June and throw it towards our debt. And so we paid a total of $9,545 in the month of July, which was a huge amount of debt. That's the biggest amount of payments we made in any month in 2020 or probably ever in our lives. And that all went towards this credit card loan. And so you can see from July to August, the balance dropped significantly. Well, the whole payment didn't go to the credit card loan. We still had to make minimums on the other loans, but all the extra above and beyond the normal like $3,300 we were paying went towards the credit card loan. So yeah, our minimums every month is about this $3,345, and so anytime the amount's over that, it's because we're making extra payments. So we paid $9,545 in the month of July. $8,000 of that went to principal, which brought our debt total down to $344,483. In August, we also put even more from savings towards our debts, and so we put $14,684 total towards debt. Again, the bulk of that went towards that credit card loan, and so you can see from August to September, it went from $21,000 down to $9,837. And then in September, we didn't go quite as big because we didn't really throw anything from savings, but we did have good income in September, so we put $8,293 towards debt. $7,125 of that went towards principal, which brought our debt total down to its current balance of $324,103. So you can see I have this row down here that's the total debt paid off. What this is each month it adds to whatever we paid previously. So in January we paid $1,386 total. In February, total for the year we had paid $4,700. March we had paid $11,000 for the year. April $12,000, almost $13,000, and so on. And so year to date, as of October 1st of 2020, we have paid off $45,570, which is way more than I ever thought we could pay off in 1 year, and the year isn't even over, first of all. So that's something I'm super, super proud of. I can't believe that we paid.
You know, so that's the thing. Depending on who has more debt, I'm just saying, okay? I'm just saying, depending on who has more debt overall, it may be beneficial to get with this person.
And that's a fact.
But I will also say that you have to look at their financial habits. Like, what are they spending their money on? What are they doing with the money that they are having? Like, where's the money going? So if this person wants you to be their girl, or this girl wants you to be her man, I would think before you get overly committed to somebody, especially monogamy, you know what I'm talking about. It might be in your best interest to ask them, yo, what's your credit score, or can I see your credit report? Because if I'm about to commit to you, let's say a relationship lasts 2 years, that's 2 years of my life. I want to know what I'm getting myself into before I invest 2 years of my life into you. Like, what's your credit report say? Like, yo, let's exchange credit reports real quick, just to see if you actually want this, you know, all this sexiness, you know what I'm saying?
Because we recognize that we have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
But I will say, you know, you will get out of debt faster with 2 incomes as opposed to 1. So if y'all need each other, you know, obviously you're not paying someone's debt, right? You don't pay anybody's debt unless you are, you know, binded to each other by law. But what I'm saying is, before you get into a relationship, boyfriend-girlfriend type of thing, right? Boyfriend-girlfriend type of thing, ask them for their credit score or credit report. Let me see your credit report, and then you give them theirs, and then you give them yours, right? Just to see what you could potentially be getting yourself into. And then you don't pay anything towards it or help them with that debt unless it is your husband, wife type of thing. So I'm just saying, that's something to keep in mind.
off that much debt when for years we were just accumulating more debt, and I just didn't know how we were ever going to get that number to go down. But you know, we figured out a bunch of things with our finances this year, and so I'm really glad that we were able to pay that much towards debt, and I'm excited to see what that total looks like at the end of the year. Now at the very end, you'll see I do have year-to-date totals over here. So we have paid $58,942 in 2020 towards debt, and only $45,570 of that went towards principal, and $13,372 did go towards interest. That's a really hard number to swallow, but that's just what it is. The faster we pay off our debts, the less interest we'll pay over time, so that's definitely part of the incentive. But interest is unavoidable for us at this point. Our student loans are private loans, so we do not have the interest paused on our student loans right now like a lot of people do. So yeah, the interest is accruing, so we are still working on paying on our debts as fast as possible. In addition to this debt, we also have a mortgage and a home equity line of credit, but those two are less than our house is worth, so assuming the house market doesn't drop too much at the point when we're ready to sell, those should be paid off completely, and hopefully we'll actually get some money out of the house. So I have not included these on the debt payoff, because if we decided to sell our house at some point, then those debts would just go away. So really the debts on this spreadsheet are the debts that are like the bad debts that are really making our net worth a negative number. So if you saw my last video, you know that this credit card loan right here is something we are planning to pay off in the month of October. So hopefully I can turn these green for the rest of the year, because this will be paid off completely, and then we'll just be left with my husband's undergraduate loans, his graduate school loans, and my law school loans. Now I'd hoped to pay off this loan in 2020 as well, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be have maybe $5,000 or so of balance as of December 31st, and that will pay off the balance of that loan in January. So basically after January, we'll just be working on these two student loans going forward. The other thing that I really wanted to do by January 1st, 2020 is get this number to less than 300,000. Also, I think that's not going to happen by the end of the year, but I'm hoping that we can get there by the end of January of 2021. So that will be exciting to see this 3 right here turn to a 2 for the first time in a very long time.
Arguably the best place to have a look at your credit score, credit report, just to see your whole credit history and the things that you owe, is to go on Credit Karma. Credit Karma gives you a free report, free credit score check of all of your debts. So definitely check it out. I'll probably leave a link to it right here or in the description. But Credit Karma, yo, ignorance is not bliss. You know them ones, yeah, where you spend so much that you don't want to check your bank account? You don't want that to be the case with your credit report or credit score. And arguably, you know, the more often you check your bank account, like on a regular basis, if you get into the habit of checking your bank account like every other day, you are less likely to overspend on various things. So I get it, sometimes overall student loan debts can't be avoidable, but credit card debt, card debt, these are things you have a more of a tangible say in where and how much debt you are going to be at.
Pay off these two loans right here, and we're only left with these two student loans. I think what we're going to do is just pay them down at the same time rather than pay the smaller one first and then mine. I'd hate to pay $100,000 and still have like my entire student loan balance left minus whatever the minimum payments are. I feel like emotionally it's going to be easier to pay these down at the same time, and my husband and I both be done with our student loans, so whatever extra payments we're making, we'll put 1/3 towards his and 2/3 towards mine probably. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go. The interest rates on both of our student loans are very similar, so it's not like we're going to save a lot of money one way or the other paying one first, and it would just be nice to have both of us be done at the same time and be able to celebrate that together. We are married, so our money all goes into one pot, but still, like I said, there's the emotional piece of each of these loans being attached to our individual education, so it will be nice to have them paid off together, and then we can just be done once and for all with all of our student loan debt. So as you can see, we've made some great progress in 2020. We've paid off, what is it, $45,570, and we still have 3 months left to go this year, but that has not even gotten us to a debt total of less than $300,000. So while that's huge progress, and I'm really proud of all the work we've done this year, it is just a small piece of this very, very large amount of debt that we have. Looking at it is like really upsetting, and it's been sitting there for a number of years, and we've made little progress here and there, but then we buy a new car, or we put something on a credit card, or different things. And at some point, I'm gonna make a whole video about exactly how we got to have this much debt, but for now, in today's video, I'm just telling you, this is our debt total, this is what we're working on, and we've got a little less than 4 years to get this all paid off. I mean, that sounds like a long time, and I'm hoping we can do it faster than that, but with that amount of debt, it's really hard to predict how quickly it's gonna get paid off, because our income can change, our expenses can change, life can change, and we're really committed to not taking on any new debt, and we have not taken on one single thing of new debt in 2020, and I am really confident that we won't going forward until the point where we, like, you know, sell our house and buy a new house, but that's different, that's like house debt. But it's really hard to know like how fast we're gonna pay this off, because projecting out 4 years of your life of what your income and expenses are gonna be is just basically impossible. Also, we're gonna try to have another baby at some point in the near future.
So like I said, right, relationships are all good and dandy until you understand the person's financial history and what they have going on, you know? So before you get into a relationship, boy or woman, if you're watching this, UK, Canada, US, wherever you are on the World Wide Web, I think it might be in your best interest to ask that person for their credit report. I'm just saying, if you're about to commit a whole year of your life, 2 years maybe plus, it might be in your best interest to ask them their credit report and their credit score. I'm just saying.
Well, let's be nice. Yeah. Let's be nice. We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good Lord.
And then you want to look at, you know, how do they currently spend their money? You know, are they a minimalist? Are they frugal? Or are they always like, what's the next hottest thing? What's the next hottest gadget? You know what I'm saying? But yo, while you're here, watch my past video right here on why marriage may be the fastest way to retire. Or if you want to get into more of your minimalist bag, you want to know how, you know, minimalism can help you save more money and have a more peaceful life, watch my video right here as well. And as always, if it doesn't feed you, don't water it. And too much of any good thing is good for nothing. How you lot doing today? Say it with me. I'm doing more, saying less, and keeping that same energy. No cap. Flip the script. I'm out. Deuces.
They keep asking what a real win. Well, I'm guessing it's the re-emergence. I always knew that I would kill shit. I was plotting, it was predetermined. Never saw you guys too soon. I be chilling, rather be observing. Wanna know if I'm the one or not. Every time I drive, I just keep confirming.